I'm messy, shy, I hate loud noises, I don't like people coming into my space. My mental capacity sometimes cannot handle crap. So, how do you sit with yourself? Let's have that conversation. Hi, my name is Marion Mikali. Welcome to Personal Growth. This is Growth with Marion. Thank you so much for being here. Your journey, my story, our growth. That is what we stand for in this channel. That once you're growing and I am growing, we are both growing, and that is the vibes today. How many of us have taken time to just sit with yourself? No TV, no phone, just sitting and thinking, like, Marion, today you did 1, 2, 3 things. You need to improve one or the other. Like, you actually grow with yourself, where you sit with yourself and ask yourself questions that improve you and make you a better person, that you actually feel like this is an area that we need to improve or work on. If you don't do that, how will you know if you are improving? How will you know if you are growing? And how will another person come to your space? Some of us want to get married, right? We want to enjoy marriage. But your husband cannot be your happiness. You need to create that within yourself. Some of the things that a lot of marriages battle with is because you did not even take time to understand yourself. So by the time you're getting into the marriage, you are shocked by the things that probably you are doing or saying, but it is because you have not had a conversation with yourself. You have not sat with yourself and just talk to yourself and be like, you know what, it is time to do this. Yeah, so everything else in life just comes as a surprise. So now you are pregnant, you are busy, your body is very actively growing a baby, but you have not sat with yourself to evaluate yourself as a mother and your capability as a mother, so that by the when this baby comes, am I able to handle the baby? If not, what strategies do I need to implement so that I actually raise a healthy baby despite of some of the challenges that probably I am going through, or if I am dealing with some traumas in my past, so that I don't pass trauma from myself to my child. You need to have conversations with yourself so that you don't go and bleed in the lives of other people. I have gone to families and I know that we are all struggling with something. There is no person that is perfect. Of course, we work on things that are an issue, but it is because some people have really sat down with themselves and be like, I am really hot-tempered and I don't want you to cross my lane, because if you do, I'm going to do something that both of us are going to regret. But because I took time to sit with myself and I know this is my trigger, so please don't trigger me, and you're very vocal about it. You're like, you know what, don't cross me. Because if you do, I will not only probably say things that will hurt, I might actually do something that will automatically offend you and me, and it might lead to something else that is worse, okay? And this is just to help us, because at the end of the day, we want to grow on a personal level. I would want probably the things that I have been struggling with to end. Prayer is good. It's one of those things that can really help. But sitting down with yourself means that you are actually being very honest with yourself, to a point of telling yourself, by this, I am actually failing. And for me to improve, I need to change 1, 2, 3 things concerning this particular area if I need to improve it. We get reviews from work, from our bosses, but sometimes you need to give yourself reviews and be like, I am not doing so well when it comes to interpersonal relationships. So what can I do on a personal level so that I can work on my interpersonal relationships? If you are receiving feedback from even your spouse, you need to receive feedback from yourself. And I know that there are people who feel like being alone means that you are bored, you are lonely, but we are talking about being alone. We are not talking about loneliness, because loneliness is another thing altogether. But you being alone, sitting down with yourself and just you learn it, because it is something that we all need to learn. For someone who is asking, why do I need to sit down with myself? Well, first thing is self-awareness. Noticing what comes up when you're alone. Because of course, once you notice what is normally coming up, it is you just becoming self-aware. The second thing is healing. Allowing yourself to process pain rather than running away from it. It's another awesome opportunity to do that. Finding peace in your own company without needing constant validation. We say that when you sit alone with yourself, because of course there are things that you're learning about yourself, as my first point of self-awareness, you find inner peace with yourself, and you will not need external validation to validate you, because you will be feeling enough with yourself. Okay? The other thing is growth. Learning that solitude isn't loneliness, but a space to reconnect with yourself and God. And that is very important, especially if you want to grow a spiritual walk with the Holy Spirit and with God. So I'm just going to summarize. For someone who is asking, so now you've told us, learn to sit with yourself. How do you learn to sit yourself? What steps can I use by way to sit with myself? I have mentioned a few when we were having our conversation, but let me just do them in points. The first one is start small. Of course, 5 minutes as you move along a day, and just sit with yourself and ask yourself some of these things so that you can self-rediscover. The other thing is create a safe space for yourself. For some people, it can be the toilet. I know someone who is so comfortable having their alone time in the toilet, because while they are doing their other business, they are taking time to do the self-talk, and it works for them because that is a safe space for them. For someone it can be nature, for another it can be actually when they are in a concert or something. Just find what works for you, right? If you need a quiet space, a quiet spot that gives you that calm, if it is a corner, a garden, a prayer service, a prayer space, just find that space for you that is safe and work on it. The other thing is focus on your breathing, because sometimes we need to sit alone, especially when you're upset, when something has been done to you that has really hurt you. That is a good time to go and learn to sit with yourself, so that one, you don't say things that you don't mean, or out of the anger that you're feeling, because when you're hungry you can say things that probably you wouldn't say when you're sober. And we all know that words are very hurtful. So the person has offended you, yes, but what you will respond when you're upset might be something that will hurt that person, probably hurt your relationship and wound that person for a long period of time, or also escalate the conflict probably, or the issue that was the issue in the first place. It will be escalated, right? So you just taking and focusing on your breathing and be like, oh, I need to breathe. I remember there was a time when my husband offended me and I was so upset. I couldn't even breathe properly. And I noticed that I actually find some relief when I listen to worship music. And my sister told me, let me put for you some worship so that you can just be relaxed. And I left where he was. I went to the kitchen. While my sister was preparing whatever she was preparing, I was listening to the music. And I noticed that it calmed me down. So it is a matter of breathing, because at that particular time, if I was to respond probably, and I think I did, but she helped me so that I don't say things I don't mean, and the situation can be salvaged. Because once I calm down, I can be like, okay, you did this, it hurt me, it offended me, and I didn't feel nice about it. Please don't do that again. Or why don't you, if it is a question you're asking me, or whatever the issue is, right? Why don't you approach it this way? Or if I needed to answer him, probably he has spoken his words out of probably anger and bitterness, but instead of responding with the same, I went, focused on my breathing with the help of the music and calmed down. Then while we went to the bedroom, we had a conversation, and that and that conversation really helped, because even in the conversation I communicated what was the issue for me, and it really helped. So focus on your breathing and keep your mind, and just prevent your mind from spiraling. I know a lot of us, especially women, we tend to think about one thing that is leading to another, that is leading to another thing, and probably that is not all those things that you are thinking about, right, are not the cause of the issue. So focus on your breathing and just deal with the issue. Once you like inhale slowly, you exhale, and you notice that by the way you have calmed down, then you can deal with your issue, which is a good thing. The other thing is, notice your thoughts, don't judge them. When thoughts arise, they will, by the way, when you are sitting alone, observe them instead of running away. Ask yourself, what is this thought trying to show me? Because that is part of self-discovery, as we have talked as one of the benefits of sitting with yourself. The other thing is, journal your reflections. There are things when alone you will think about, and when you write what you feel, what you noticed, and also what you realized, and then at the end of the day, over time, you will see a pattern and deeper self-understanding. Of course, when you're thinking in your own self, there are things that seem familiar, and of course that helps also with self-understanding. The other thing is, practice self-compassion. Strong feelings may be uncomfortable, like fear, sadness, regret, while you are alone, but be gentle with yourself instead of criticizing those thoughts, right? Be gentle with yourself and be like, okay, I really fear this thing, and I fear it because of this, but at the end of the day, I am compassionate with myself, and I'm like, okay, I fear it, but I will not let that fear dictate how I live my life. Okay, I am saddened by this, but I will not let that sadden ruin my joy, and I'm replacing that sadness with joy. There are regrets, because sometimes you have done something, said something that you really feel like, I shouldn't have said that, and you want to criticize yourself, but at the end of the day, be compassionate with yourself and be like, okay, as much as I regret it, what can I do? Can I apologize? Probably, if there is a way to redeem myself from the regret, can I go and do something that will help me or will salvage the situation, right? That is how self-compassion works. Incorporate prayer and meditation. Of course, we always think that meditation is bad, but it is good if you're a spiritual person, so you can include prayer in your meditation, so that you can use that time to talk with God and just internalize and meditate on the scriptures, so that they can become a reality for you in your life. This makes the solitude purposeful and not empty. So it's not about going to sit down and just boom and just stay. No, it is sitting down and probably thinking about the word of God and growing yourself in the things of God at the same time. You can pray and meditate at the same time while you are sitting with yourself. Increase your alone time, of course, gradually. We have talked about that, because as you continue to enjoy your own company, you love yourself, and you know, when you love yourself, that love overflows to also other people around you. So you find yourself just becoming a lover of people, and that is a good thing, because of course people will start to enjoy your company. Everyone that out here is looking for love, and when you give it, and then you're giving it genuinely, you're not doing it because you want for someone or to manipulate others. You're just loving them generally because you love yourself. You enjoy your own company. Even when people say what you want to say secluded, and it's not in a bad thing, and it also reduces the pressure that comes with, of course, age, when now people start telling you, now you need to stop being single. As a single girl, you're like, I'm comfortable with my own space. That reduces your chances of being desperate and falling for also the wrong person. You see, it's a very good thing. The other thing is, balance solitude with community. Sitting with yourself does not mean isolation. It's about grounding, so you can connect with others more authentically. Over time, sitting with yourself becomes less about doing nothing and more about being present, healing, and finding clarity. And that is very important for us as individuals. Learn to sit with yourself. I know that we can spend hours upon hours binge watching a series, a movie series, and it's awesome, right? And you find that you have fast time, especially when you're idle, you're not working, you have finished school, and there's nothing really going on with you at the particular time. So you just want to just avoid boredom. Sometimes you want to sleep longer because you're like, I don't have so much to do, so let me sleep more hours. But then instead of sleeping, use that time to sit with yourself so that you can grow, so that you can heal, so that you can be more present and have authentic relationships at the end of the day. Thank you so much for staying here and staying tuned. My name is Marion Mekalindo, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.